Back in from the break, ladies and gentlemen, on a Monday, hottest form of Crimson Tide news, notes, and information you're going to find anywhere. In my own words, the podcast with yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. And we continue with Charlie Strong in terms of what impact can he make? What impact could he bring to this Alabama defense? And Charlie Strong, to me, could bring a really massive impact when you look at the pieces are already there, right? When you discuss LeBron Ray, Christian Barmore, DJ Dale, Fidarian Mathis, just a host of players on the defensive line, those guys are hungry. They want to get back to being fierce. They want to get back to being dominant. They want to get back to being well-respected among college football. And then at the linebacker positions, you have a Dylan Moses, a Joshua McMillan, a Christian Harris, a Shane Lee, a Chris Allen, even a Ben Davis in there, a number of also freshmen and other players that want to get back to being monsters in college football. But of course, the secondary, though Patrick Surtain is the only guy with big experience, you have a lot of depth in that positional room. So with the talent there, with the experience there, with the pieces in play, Charlie Strong would have a huge impact just due to his wisdom, his knowledge of the game. And just going back to something that I've heard throughout the weekend or over the weekend, a lot of people have the feeling that, well, Charlie Strong has not coached a defense or has not strategically or specifically been a coordinator, a defensive coordinator in this decade. And with the new aged offenses that are popping up in college football, and these teams are able to score at will, gone are the days of defenses being able to shut out teams. You're not going to be able to do that. Well, try telling that to Ohio State. I mean, Chase Young and the Buckeyes pitched quite a few shutouts this season. Try telling that to Clemson and Brent Venables. I mean, Clemson and that defense pitched a couple of shutouts this past season under Brent Venables. I mean, try telling that to Georgia and Kirby Smart. I mean, yes, they got ran over like a motherless child in a Mack truck driving down the highway by LSU. That was because the offense was pretty basic there with Jake Fromm, but defensively, Georgia had a pretty stout defense. So being able to still dominate opposing offenses, keep them off the scoreboard, that still can be done. That still can be brought into play. It comes down to having the right coach in the room, coming down to having the right coach on the field. And you get a guy like a Charlie Strong, you get his wisdom, you mix a little old school with a little new school, have these guys bounce ideas off each other, you're bound to have something. Because if I know one thing that this Alabama fan base wants to get back to is having a defense that is feared in college football, that is feared, that is respected, that the moment that opposition comes off the bus, they're going, what have we just entered? Because they know they are going to get the business playing against Alabama. And of the plethora of Crimson Tide fans I've spoken with in my passing, especially the last 2 years, the theme has been, Stephen, Bama's not feared anymore. Like, where's the fear? We used to put fear in the teams. We used to have teams scared. We used to have teams timid. Like, there's no fear. Guys aren't fearing Bama anymore. When can we get back to that point to where we mean business, we handle business, and teams are not wanting to play this Crimson Tide defense? Part of getting back to that feared mentality is having a coach in the room that can not only identify with the players, but having a coach in the room that has that experience of running the defense, having that experience of knowing when to substitute properly, having that experience of when do I blitz, when do I time the blitz, when do I just sit back and play coverage, understanding situational football, basically. Having that coach that understands situational football and putting each respective player in a spot, in a position, in an area to have maximum success. And going back to look at Charlie Strong, when he was at Florida as the defensive coordinator, he put guys like Brandon Spikes. He put guys like Dante Fowler Jr. He put guys like Carlos Dunlap. He put guys like Major Wright and Joe Hayden, and just a mixture, just a number of countless talents in position to have success on the field, be dominant on the field, make big-time plays on the field, but most importantly, get drafted, go to the NFL, have a high draft stock. So you have a guy in Charles with this defense, he would make a huge impact, especially if whether he is either or with inside linebackers or defensive backs. And that's the intriguing part as well. If Charlie Strong is brought in here to have that co-DC tag with Pete Golding. Let's say he's brought in here to have the co-DC tag with Pete Golding. If he's brought in to be the inside, to help out with inside linebackers as well, then you're putting a Dylan Moses, a Joshua McMillan, a Shane Lee, Christian Harris, Alakaho, Demoy Kennedy, Jackson Bratt, and that whole room to learn from a Charlie Strong on how to be a captain on the field, a captain on defense, a quarterback on that side of the football, seeing the field, making the calls, dissecting plays, see the play, read the play, attack the play. If you put Charlie Strong with the defensive backfield, seeing how Strong was a DB in college, now you get him with a Patrick Surtain, a Daniel Wright, a Josh Jobe, a Jagan Armour-Davis, and all these defensive backs, and they have a chance to play the ball in the air, be in perfect phase in the hip pocket of the opposing wide receiver, having that head turned around, not getting called, not getting flagged for defensive holding or pass interference, and being able to wrap up and appropriately make tackles. So if you get him with inside linebackers, that's a plus. Even if you get him in the defensive secondary, that's a plus. And I go back to something that Coach Saban has done in the past. A lot of his guys, whether it was Kirby Smart or Jeremy Pruitt, both of those two came from a defensive back, came from a secondary background. They came from a secondary background. They come to Alabama. They operate as defensive coordinators, and they operate as inside linebacker coaches as well. But with Charlie Strong, you can have him as either an inside linebackers coach or a defensive backs coach. So the biggest thing is just getting the man in here. That's the biggest thing. Getting him in here, hammering down the deal, because he is somebody that can help a Pete Golding, but not just that. He is also somebody, as I mentioned before, that can help a Freddie Roach. Freddie Roach, a young coach on the rise. Freddie Roach, somebody of whom people have a ton of respect for. Peers have respect for him. Players have respect for him. Recruits have respect for him. And a guy that is mannerism-wise, attention to detail-wise, personality-wise, is in the same boat. He's a younger version of Charlie Strong. So if you just did not feel 100% comfortable moving forward for years to come with Pete running that defense, then you look at, okay, Charlie, we brought you in here to help Pete. We may not feel like Pete is the guy we think he could be, but we have a Freddie Roach right here whose tip could be the younger version of you. You can help out a Freddie Roach. You can mentor Freddie Roach. You can develop, you can groom a Coach Roach to where at some point he could be a defensive coordinator. So I think he brings a big impact. I think Charlie Strong brings a massive impact. And once again, people kind of confuse him being the defensive coordinator to him being the head coach. Some people were meant to be schemers, planners, strategists. Charlie Strong meant to be that schemer, planner, strategist in terms of the defensive side of the football. And I think getting him in here as a coordinator, at least for 3 years. If he can do more than 3, blessing. If he can do more than 3, big time. If he can do more than 3, important, because I'm kind of getting the feeling that Coach Saban is tired of bringing in a lot of veteran names that on the surface, it appears as though they'll be there for a long time. They'll coach for a long time. They'll stick around for a long time. And then the next move or the next coaching opening makes itself available, and those coaches jump off the ship and they go to the next available job, the next available spot. And Coach Saban's looking like, well, I mean, what are you doing? We thought you were going to be here. We thought you were going to hang around here for the long haul, for the betterment, as I should say, of what we're trying to do here in this program. So you land Charlie Strong here for at least a 3-year period. You got something here. But just in my honest and complete opinion, what impact do I think Charlie Strong could bring on the program? I think it's a solid impact. He would be huge defensive line. He would be huge linebackers. He would be huge secondary. At the end of the day, I know you look at the injuries that Alabama had last year. The injuries were difficult. The injuries were terrible. You're playing, 8 to 9 freshmen, 2 of those in the middle of your defense at linebacker, a couple of those in the defensive line, Byron Young, Justin Aboigbe, DJ Dale, a few of those guys in the secondary, including one Jordan Battle. But for Tide fans and for quite a few of you guys, it doesn't matter with the injuries. When you go from week 1 to the final week of the season, there's got to be some consistent improvement throughout the entire defense, not just 1 or 2 guys. Consistent improvement throughout the entire range of spectrum here. And because there was not consistent improvement throughout the entire range of spectrum, we got to have somebody come in here and improve it and get it better and get this defense back to where it was in 2015, in 2016, in 2017, and in years prior, to where Bama fans were boastful of the defense, were happy about the defense, were wagering money on the defense that they were calling in the radio shows, kind of like this one, would be like, man, this defense, bruh, they can't stop this defense. Bet you can't score on my defense. Yeah, my offense may not be moving the ball. Yeah, my kicker may miss every single field goal known to mankind, including the extra points. But you can't score on our defense now. Our defense with all the smoke now. You can't move it on this D. This D is doing it dirty. You can't move on this D. That's what Alabama wants to get back to being able to brag, boast, showboat, call every single phone line known to mankind and talk about this defense. And I believe Charlie Strong, with his experience, with his moxie, with his MO as a play caller, will be able to get that done. But we're going to go to another break here on In My Own Words, the podcast. Don't touch that dial. Still getting you warmed up here. Upon our return, we jump back into the phone lines, taking your questions, calls, thoughts, and concerns. Folks, we'll be back right after this.
T-Town Menswear in the University Mall in Tuscaloosa. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $5.95 per month, or pay $49.95 for a full year subscription. That's a saving of almost $22. Make sure to subscribe before it's too late and get our new freshly printed end of the year magazine issue. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
Thank you for watching Touchdown Alabama Magazine's YouTube channel. To continue to get the best in Alabama football content, subscribe here and turn on your notifications to stay connected with the hottest shows covering your Crimson Tide.